So last Thursday, I saw Tesseract opening up for Gojira, and I was floored by both of these performances. I mainly went because Tesseract was opening up. I have been loving Tesseract for quite a while now, about for a year since their latest album dropped of Polaris. Some of the sounds on that is just so meaty and so hooky. I love how they have been able to balance that really gent style of music with much more of a mellow atmosphere as well. They weren't quite as heavy hitting as a lot of those gent bands have been. What I do like about them is their complexity with their simplicity and the balance between the two. Now, the venue was over at the Sound Academy, and those who are not familiar with the venues here in Toronto, the Sound Academy is kind of near the lake. In fact, some might say it's in the lake. So it's pretty hard to get to, and they've remodeled it completely now. It's almost like a Club 54 with a lounge area, and it's a very strange venue to hold a metal concert at, but it was a really good venue in terms of the acoustics, at least. Unfortunately, with TesseracT's main set, the volumes weren't quite jiving, and this is something that I've noticed quite a bit now for a lot of different venues. The bass and the drums definitely drowned out the rest of the instruments. I didn't really hear too much of the two guitarists, which was a little bit of a shame, and the lead singer was kind of hard to make out, but besides that, the set was fantastic. I loved all the songs they played. I like that they played a mishmash of old and new. I was a little disappointed because they did kind of put out that new EP where it was a much more of a mellow approach to some of their songs. So I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't revisit some of those, especially when they were kind of promoting that album. But they didn't even feature any of those new workings of those older songs or those newer songs. So yeah, I was seeing Tesseract, I was right up at the front, and again, I've said this before, and I definitely will say it again. Whenever you're going to a concert like this, definitely get there early, because that's when you can really talk shop and compare notes with some of the fans out there. A buddy and I went, we got right up to the front, and we just started shooting the shit with a whole bunch of fans there, kind of comparing notes. You know, have you listened to this band? Have you listened to that band? I was kind of telling them that they should listen to Leprous, because they haven't quite heard that, because I did see another guy that I saw at a Leprous concert. Once Gojira hit the stage, this is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of standing concerts. I knew I wasn't going to get back up to the front, and that was fine with me, but even standing near the middle or off to the edge or something like that, a lot of people kept pushing and shoving to try to get up to the front, and there was one point where a woman's purse got hooked onto my pant pocket, and I actually was dragged into part of the crowd, and I tried my best to tell her to stop, but, you know, just with the audio and whatnot, you can't really say anything. And so the audience was kind of a mishmash between the very polite and the sorry, excuse me kind of ones, and then because alcohol was involved, there was a number of very inebriated individuals who were very inebriated, let's just put it that way, and kind of lessened the fun factor for me, but they were having a good time, so that's fair. And Gojira's set was just fantastic. They played a perfect blend of new and old stuff, and as I had mentioned before in some of my Gojira reviews, I'm not a big fan of Gojira. I love what they do, and I love some of the songs, but I'm not a big fan of them. Like, I don't listen to them religiously. I dug their latest album of Magma, and I did like the album that Whales song came from Sirius to Mars or something along those lines. And they did play Whales, which is one of my favorite songs from them, and once they started with that, the crowd just went insane. And surprisingly enough, now maybe it was just because where I was, but there wasn't a whole lot of mosh pitting as well, which I was kind of surprised at. I find myself a lot of the times on the outskirts of a mosh pit, just holding my hands out and getting ready to push people back in. Gojira definitely had a great live stage presence as well. Top notch in terms of using lights very well. It wasn't over the top, but it just emulated the music a little bit more. So yeah, that was my takeaway from the Gojira and Tesseract tour. Did you guys get a chance to check it out? If you have, let me know down below and what your experience was there. And yeah, so that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.